for an incredible night. Oh, we're taking it up a notch.
As a female, you have to think about a lot. I'm nice. I'll help you coil your cables. I'll get you water if you're a DJ. I will go above and beyond, but I do have boundaries.
Today's guest burst onto the wedding scene, current National Wedding Awards winner, brilliant, positive role model. So welcome, Franchesqua Sings.
There's a real fine line and there is a real big surge of, I'll say wedding singers because that's what I noticed the most. Getting there 2 hours earlier on the day, filming the whole thing, you're spoiling the magic. This business, which actually I need to fulfill, I have to put my ego, my artist ambitions aside for that, and I will turn up on that day and I'll smash it.
Be sure you stick around because we're only getting warmed up.
That's why you go into the luxury market, because of the details. If people have spent thousands on a venue and you turn up with your gear in an Aldi bag. I love Aldi. Love Aldi. Their
Just don't bring it back to a wedding.
Their skincare is amazing.
How are we doing, guys? And welcome to another episode of Think Wedding Business. Today's guest, honestly, this girl seemingly burst onto the wedding scene, well, probably over the last couple of years, or so it seems. She is the current National Wedding Awards winner for the Best Live Musical Act. She is an awesome singer. She's a brilliant, positive role model. And it's great to have her here. So welcome, Franchesqua Sings.
Hello.
How are we doing?
Hello.
Now, I've got to say, we know there's no such thing as an overnight success. So take us back, where it all began and what eventually made you turn your talents to the wedding industry.
Okay, so...
It's a loaded question.
Yeah, I know, because I'm trying to go back and I'm one of those that pivots. But when I first started performing, it wasn't for weddings. I worked in an Indian restaurant as a waitress. And there was an Alicia Keys album in the the hi-fi at the time or whatever, and that would be on all the time. So when everybody left the restaurant and I was cleaning down, I would sing the whole album back to back. And one day the owner said, would you do a gig here? The pot washer's a guitarist. I was like, oh
No way.
yeah I was like, oh well, okay, but we don't have any equipment. They went, we're gonna get some for the venue. So they got some equipment, and we had a little rehearsal. We did like a set, and he was really cheeky, really, actually. He just paid us our wage for waitressing, but gigging. But it was great because we didn't have to waitress and wash pots. So that was kind of like the first gig. We got this equipment and we did like maybe 3 to 4 gigs there. And we thought, oh, this could be a thing. So we started doing like bars and restaurants, because I grew up in North Wales. So that was kind of where I started gigging.
You're in the pot washer?
Yeah, me and the pot
Wales.
washer. I know, yeah. That's
great.
Me and the pot washer could have been
Before
a
we
good
carry on,
tour.
are you still with the pot washer in some form now?
No,
okay.
No, but he's still gigging. He lives in Wales,
Oh,
and I still see him
So
on
it was
Facebook.
for both of you. It was
Yeah, it's the first time.
Forget the pot washer. We don't need him.
I was working in a waitress. So
in
that
an
was
Indian restaurant.
It doesn't have the same ring to it. But yeah, so I was doing like shows and stuff in school and college and stuff, and then I went to university in Salford. So that's kind of when I moved to Manchester. I thought, there's a bit more buzz here. There's something. Yeah, there's a bit more going on. So I kind of stopped going home on the weekends for gigs and started placing myself here. And I had a boyfriend at the time who was a bit of an idiot. This all has relevance, by the way. He was a bit of an idiot, and I came home from one summer and I found out he was cheating on me. And at the time, one of my friends was working on the cruise ships, and he said to me, I've got this opportunity for you to go and work all summer in Turkey. I thought, brilliant.
Get yourself out
Get
there.
away from him.
Okay.
Because I was still cut up about him. I thought I could go back with him because I was young and he was my first boyfriend. I thought, yeah, I might just give it a try. He's sorry, blah, blah, blah. So I went to Turkey and I did a summer out there, and then I met this couple and they're like, we really, really love you. We want you to sing at our wedding. And I was like, I don't have any equipment. And they're like, we're going to pay you £750. I was like, what? That's amazing.
I'll get the equipment.
Yeah,
I'll get the equipment.
I mean, I can't remember what I did about the equipment. I think maybe I borrowed it at the time because I was only doing the daytime stuff, so I didn't need a lot. But they put me up in a hotel. I had like the wedding breakfast, and I didn't know what a wedding breakfast is. I was like, what? You have a wedding breakfast at 4 p.m? I was like, what? You want me to sing at your wedding breakfast?
Why is it
Singing
called
at
a
8 o'clock in the
breakfast?
morning?
Because it's the first meal, isn't it, as a married couple?
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. So
I didn't even twig.
really?
No,
right,
I didn't know
so
that.
I found that out very early, so I was like, oh, I've sang at a wedding breakfast. So that was my first ever wedding, and it was amazing because everyone was having a good time. People enjoyed what I was doing because I was so used to singing in bars where no one really cared, and it was really, really, really nice. And then at the evening, I stayed and I was a guest and had a good time. And I took my mum with me. My mum used to come to all my gigs with me. And then I got some equipment and started doing gigs and kind of pushing myself, mainly around the area. So I grew up in North Wales, so I used that link because it was really easy to do well in North Wales because there wasn't a lot of competition.
Yeah.
And yeah, did a couple of weddings, and I was in uni and just kind of doing gigs on weekends to just like top up that. And then I won a karaoke competition. I won £1,000, and I bought some recording equipment and started recording stuff, put it on YouTube, and that's kind of when the bookings started coming from there, really.
So you used that money, invested it back into yourself,
100%.
and you thought, right, weddings is the place to be.
Yeah.
So was this people were seeing you at bars and then getting married and going, can you come to ours?
Yeah.
How did you market
Yeah,
them?
it started off really as like getting booked for like birthday parties because people weren't really booking wedding singers at the time, because this was like when I was 18, 19, so this is like 12, 13 years. I wish. It feels like it. This was 12, 13 years ago in Wales, and like I love North Wales. I was there on Monday, actually singing for a lot of wedding suppliers. I was there on Monday. They are very behind. And they will accept this, the wedding suppliers there. We were having a conversation about this. They're very behind on entertainment. Sax has only just started going on up there, where every wedding you go to, everyone books a sax player. It's the resident DJ, no offence, like there's some great resident DJs, but they've been there since the hotel was built.
They get the package with the venue and stuff.
They've got no choice, and it's like, you're my DJ, blah, blah, blah. No personal thing. So I started doing like birthdays, christenings, bars, and every like person's gig that I would do, I'd get passed on to somebody else. I didn't have business cards, I didn't have a website. I had maybe like 50 songs that I sung. I didn't have an iPad. I know a lot of people go out with iPads. I didn't have an iPad. You learn everything. You learn it from scratch. You memorize things. You ran it. You ran what you were going to say in between your songs. It was like a show. And I really, even though I didn't like market myself as that, I just really, really honed in on like what I was going to do. I was going to be an event singer. The weddings came organically, and then I used that kind of experience and knowledge and took it and applied it to that.
To the weddings?
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people do the same. They'll start off doing one thing and then transition into another. I was the same, because I started off doing a duo act at a pub years ago. It was the first time I ever went and performed in front of anybody. I think I was 17 at the time. And then as years went on, I always sang, but I didn't really go out and perform. And then I got into a band, and I was the front man in the band, and that gave me the confidence to think, actually, I can go and stand in front of people and sing. And it just went from there. But I was doing restaurants and birthdays, and then I fell out with it a little bit, and then I got the chance to do a wedding, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm just going to feel the fear and do it anyway. Yeah. And that was the best ever for me. And then I realised where I wanted to be, and that was when I really started to market myself towards weddings. So maybe we can touch on that. So when you realise, when you're at that similar point where you thought, weddings is the place to be, what were you actively doing to get bookings at venues that you liked, or just to get weddings? Anything specific you were doing, maybe that our viewers can learn from and think, that's a good tactic to use. And there's going to be loads of similar stuff, because we know how well you're on social media and things like that. But at the beginning, social media wasn't really in play as much, certainly when I was starting out. So what other things were you doing at the start to really go full force to the wedding world?
So moving to Manchester was a massive one for me. It was scary. So I came to uni in Manchester, and I would still go home and do gigs like holiday parks. I've sang in every kind of dive. So like once I got into like weddings, I was like, oh, this is really nice. This is where I want to be.
And the money
The money was
better,
great, but the money
I would
wasn't great then, and the money, you know, it changes depending. Like, I feel really confident on what I bring and how I market myself now, but I definitely undersold myself a lot. Like,
I think you get paid what you're worth in the
Yeah.
weddings, and people appreciate you more.
Yeah.
And they realise
Doesn't
what
start
goes
off
into
that way,
it.
does it?
No, so it was kind of
No.
like being an apprentice. So I'm not going to go in like top whack for the first kind of weddings. They were kind of like a portfolio. So
Yeah.
definitely a lot of networking, turning up on time to the venue and talking to everybody, like whether it's the caterers, the wedding dressers, the makeup artists, really establishing myself as soon as I walked through the door, like, hi, like, it's really nice to be here. It's my first time being here. Is there anything that I should be aware of? Like, you know, will you talk to me if it's too loud? You know, just being really polite. I think that was a massive one for me, to leave a good reputation with anybody that I spoke to. And just being really open for collaboration. I always was really heavy on getting promotional stuff done, so I always got a new show reel every year, got that done to send to agents. I did a bit of agency work, did different things with bands. I just tried to be polite, flexible and approachable.
Yeah.
But I would say my main bulk of weddings were definitely off people that had seen me at another wedding. They saw, and that's the best, because they've seen you in your natural state. They've not judged you off a YouTube clip. They've not judged you off your price list or whatever. They've seen you in person. Like, I don't care what you cost, or I don't care what if you're available or not. Can you be available and can you be there, because I want you. And that's the position I'm in now, where it's like, you are part of my vision, where people even building their like colour scheme on the day because of my branding. They're like, I saw your branding and it's set the tone for how I'm going to set my wedding up, and we've got disco balls and we've got neon signs now, and I'm like, oh, amazing.
Yeah, it's a bit like the Ellie effect as well. She's a similar thing.
The
I think
hats.
that's a real common theme, that, isn't it? Where, you know, I think if everybody's thinking they want to be a wedding singer, they can't just go out there and start getting work instantly. You've got to go out, do them free gigs, get yourself seen. But this is really important what you said there. When you get that first wedding, it's starting, your network building starts there. It's not about, I'm going to do a great job for my couple. It's about who else is seeing me, the photographer's seeing me, the venue owner's seeing me, they're going to recommend me. And it's being super, super nice. John used the phrase, don't be a dick.
Yeah.
And when people get to know you and that you're nice to work with, they want to work with you again, and they're going to want to recommend you. So, yeah, when you get your first wedding, just be awesome to work with, and that's
it's such a small industry as well.
Yeah, it is, and everybody talks. You know, that is just the best way. But we know, because we see it all the time, that you are killing it on the social media side of things.
Oh, I don't feel like I am, but thank you.
Well, you do. I mean, you're always, you are smashing it.
I do what I can.
There's your stories, your reels, and you set it out from your posts to your stories to your reels. They all work together, but they almost like they do a different thing.
I've noticed, so the shorter the better, which is really interesting, because the average watch time for a reel is 7 seconds. And that is on a variety of content. And I've not really analysed my content. It sounds bad. I know what I want it to come across like. So I put it up. A lot of the time I'm like, put it up, you know. If they don't like it, they don't like it. But I got to a point a couple of weeks ago where I've got about 40 weddings from this year that aren't even on the grid, because I put them on the story at the time and I was like, oh, people have seen it. And I just look like I'm not that active, and I'm like, I'm burnt out. I'm like, you know. So I've just tried this week again, after every gig, put something up, whether it's a carousel of pictures, whether it's a review, whether it's like a little snapshot. And if you've got like I actually put a lot of live footage up where I know a lot of people don't, and that's fine. But for me, my biggest selling point is how I make the bride and the bridesmaids feel. I'm in and amongst the crowd. I'm wireless, so I'm always roaming. Before roaming was even a thing, put me on a stage, I'm like, I don't want to be on here, because I feel disconnected. I like being near people, bringing people together. And if the energy isn't there, I've been known to drag people apart the seats, like, come on, get on the dance floor, and then everyone's up.
Yeah, so good practices. Show yourself working on the wedding, show the atmosphere that you create, show that you're in with everybody and everybody's having a good buzz. So anybody watching, they've done their wedding, what good social media practices would you then employ straight after that wedding? Just talk us through what you would do then.
So after the wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
so-
let's say what we'll do
What do
on
you do
and
on the
after
wedding?
then.
Oh, yeah.
On and after.
So I like to be really present on the day. So I'm not the best on stories on the actual day. I try and
Yeah.
and also I'm really respectful that they've told their guests in the morning, don't put anything on social media till we have. And so it's really hard because even though their friends
That
aren't
still
going to
applies
see
to
it,
suppliers. A lot
I
of people
still
don't
feel like that. Yeah.
A lot of people overlook that. A lot of suppliers
I think
just
it's rude
go,
in a way.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I always
Their
ask-
wedding isn't
yeah.
my like they've already paid me.
If you hear that
Yeah.
and they're, oh, please don't share anything on social media till the evening or
Yeah.
till tomorrow because the bride and groom don't want the guest putting stuff
Yeah.
online. That goes for suppliers
I
as well.
feel so,
You're
yeah.
not immune to it. I know
Yeah.
we've got to promote ourselves.
Yeah,
But
but
You gotta
you
be
not
very
that
respectful to
day,
their
not
wishes,
that
haven't
day.
you?
And I
Yeah.
think it's even something that's in my Google form. I ask if they mind me doing that and what are their social tags because we presume that everyone wants to be tagged. You know, there might be people that might not have been.
they don't want to be on socials.
Yeah, exactly.
at all.
Most of them love it though, don't they?
They do.
Most
love
of
it,
them
you know.
absolutely
They love it.
love
And
it.
I grab so much content that actually one of my brides yesterday, she said, do you have anything of the actual ceremony? Because she didn't have a videographer. I'm not on Instagram, but one of my bridesmaids has seen that you've put something up. Can you send it? And I sent her like 30 videos of the whole day. And she was like, oh my God, you've captured so much. And
Wow.
and it's amazing because I feel a bit like cheesy at the time, but it's on a tripod or I'll take little bits. But sometimes I'm like, oh, does it look professional? And
Doesn't matter.
I don't obviously just stand there filming myself singing, and there's a real fine line and there is a real big surge of, I'll say wedding singers because that's what I noticed the most, getting there 2 hours earlier on the day, filming the whole thing. Don't forget the guests are outside, you're rehearsing like lots of things and it's like that you're spoiling the magic, you know. I almost don't like now singing before the bride's entered. I used to sing a lot of songs before the bride entered. Lately, I've said to brides, you can have that, but actually, why don't you put a bit more of that time onto the drinks reception? And why don't the first song that people actually hear live is you walking in? It's going to have such an impact because people have almost become immune to you singing there for 15 minutes, you know, singing all these songs. And the impact, as soon as you start singing and they walk in it, even me, I'm like, oh, goosebumps, you know?
It's always about timing it right, isn't it? I know there's another singer that I knew years ago and he just seemed to do everything. He synced the ceremony, he synced the drinks, he synced the wedding breakfast, he synced the night down. It's just like,
yeah.
you're overcooking it.
Yeah.
And if you create enough of an atmosphere at that particular time, that's enough.
Yeah.
You know,
But you're selling, especially with what you guys do, you're selling an experience.
Yeah.
It's not just, I'm a good singer. You're selling
Yeah.
an actual experience for the bride and groom and for the guests, but mainly the bride and groom. And then that's what people are booking
Yeah.
you on because people are seeing you and you get most of your work from those people that have seen it and experienced it and gone, we need that.
Yeah, so there's definitely an element of capturing some bits. So yeah, I will maybe sometimes I get home.
Pulling it back, sorry.
Yeah,
I need to pull it back to the
because
best
this is like ADHD.
social
brain.
media on the day and then
So
after.
on the
What
day,
would you do? Yeah,
on the
okay.
day, now and again, it's very rare. I might do a little selfie, maybe.
Yeah.
Very, very rare. I don't really do a lot of selfies. I don't know why, but I'll maybe put something on when I'm leaving the venue. So I'll maybe do a little story in the car, like, oh my God, that was amazing wedding. If something magical happened, but I'll try, and in the morning, as soon as I wake up, try and edit some. If I'm not doing another wedding the next day, I'll try and edit a little reel or put a few photos up, put something up and then put it to my story, tag a few of the suppliers, tag the venue and stuff. If I've really got time, I'll lift some of the live audio and I put it underneath like the collage if I've got time. But then I'll also get in touch with the client about a couple of days. Well, I'll speak to them the next day, say thank you, but a couple of days later and say, have you got have you got a review, but like, thanks so much for booking me, blah, 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 blah. Here's my review. Try and get a review, and now and again I'll share that. Sometimes the photographers or videographers will send me bits. The other week there was a social media content creator, which actually is a really cool idea. She sent me loads of snippets and I just whacked them in a reel.
Yeah.
But then I put it up and it went rotated.
You're going to see a lot. It goes back to what you were saying before.
I could do that. I could do that. I could have that on.
You getting videos on the day.
Yeah.
Do the same job, isn't it?
And the bride that came to you and said, can we see that?
Yeah.
Because we didn't have a video.
The
You're
candid
going to see a
stuff.
lot of that. Any content from the wedding day, they're going to, because as we move forward in this age of social media and the rise of content creators, couples want as much content as possible. So if they know that there's guests or suppliers that have got bits for themselves on their phones,
Yeah.
they're going to be like, oh, we want to see that. We want to
I
see
get
that.
asked for it all the time.
Yeah.
And it's the
All
FOMO,
the
isn't
time.
it? It's like, you've got video I've not seen
Yeah.
from my wedding day.
Yeah.
I want to
Yeah.
see it. So they're going to be appreciative of you for doing that.
Yeah.
But you're doing it for you for promo.
Yeah.
Which is,
But
so
they get a snapshot
both-
looking back. Yeah.
And they win.
I think that's actually a good idea because after your wedding, there were like for me, I hate making reels, but I know I need to.
Yeah.
But if you've had this amazing day and you're on your honeymoon,
You're more
do you really want to make a reel? So if someone's made it for you, like I would pay for a content creator to go on my phone now and make me reels because I can't be bothered doing that. But I know I need to because I've got gold on my phone.
If I've, I mean, I don't do it for everyone.
No.
I do it for certain ones, but if it's been the most epic day,
Yeah.
and sometimes I'll do it on the night because I'm so
Yeah, 'cause you're
excited about
buzzed
stuff.
about it, yeah.
Not that weddings that I'm not excited about. If you're watching, your wedding was also watching. but
There's no
sometimes
rubbish wedding.
sometimes you just get a bit more motivated to do something, don't you? Because it'd be funny because we're chatting with Andy Murphy, weren't we? And he was saying if he doesn't get anything out, was it the next day? There's just no point doing it.
No point doing it.
In a way, yeah.
I still
Immediate
think there
impact.
is.
There is a point, but
I still think there is, but
I'm
longer
now
you-
going to go back. So I've got to do that. But like, for example, this weekend I'm doing 2 for an agency and I can't really put too much up on social media. So on those days, I could share like a picture or whatever, but I might put a reel up from a wedding I've done just to keep active, but and not break the rules there.
Do you find that working through agencies versus your own brand, is there a different way that you like, you know, carry yourself like say promoting? You can't really promote yourself because you're not
even
under
down
your
to
name.
what I wear.
Yeah.
So some agency I work for, I have to just wear black and white. Now, if you know me, colourful.
Not your brand,
it's
is it?
not my
No.
brand, but it's fine. But I definitely have changed the direction I'm going. I found I was doing a lot more privates, enjoying them more because the feedback loop, you realise how much of an impression you're leaving on them because you actually get a review. You know their names, you know like personal things. Like I was turning up to agency gigs and I'm like, what's their names? You know, on the day.
yeah.
What's the, you know, and I know nothing, and a wedding
There's
is so personal.
Disassociation, isn't
Yeah.
there?
And they, you know, they're not really connected to me as well, and they don't realise the value that I bring because they don't even see. I get given a different name, you know. So for me, I've pretty much cut out agency work. I'm just fulfilling the rest of this year, but next year's pretty much direct. You have to book
I
me
think
direct.
maybe a bit of a misconception of. I think a lot of singers who want to get into industry, they want to go out and get work as a singer, think you have to go through an agency or it's part of it. And maybe at the beginning that could be part of it. I did one gig for an agency years and years ago, and I was handing out my business cards at the gig. Next morning, I got a call. Oh, I believe you handing out business cards. I said, yeah, somebody asked me. You're not allowed to do that.
No.
I was like, all right, well, can you take me off your books? I don't want any more gigs. One gig, one experience, that was it.
Yeah,
because I thought, maybe I'm just a control freak.
No,
I
but
don't like
it's
anybody
fair,
else
it's right.
controlling what I do.
I get it's slightly different, but if I second shoot for another videographer,
Yeah, you can't give
or
theirs.
if I associate
Similar
for
as, but
so I'm there on the day under their name.
Yeah,
so
of course.
if I'm associating for another company or I'm at second shooting with somebody, I'm part of their company. I'm not Adam Wing that day. I'm whatever, you know, media.
Enhanced films.
Yeah.
There's probably a brand out there, sorry.
Superaveragefilms.com. So I'm working for them on that day. So I have to. I'm as professional, but a bit more traditionally professional, if that makes sense. So I'm not injecting my personality as much. I'm just personal.
Because you don't want to affect their
professional.
brand.
I'm professional and polite, and I do my job, but I don't inject my personality into it as much because that might not be what
They want. Yeah.
Whereas I know from my brand and my weddings, I can.
You can be you.
can be me.
I find it really hard to not be myself. Though.
It's really difficult. I feel
subdued.
I feel like when I work for agencies, I have to like almost like simmer down what I bring. But actually, when I get booked by my couples, they love how extra I am.
Getting at.
Here's the lesson: if you're thinking of booking Franchesqua, go
baby.
direct. Go direct.
Also,
But this is-
can I just say as well, the amount of agencies that sell me being on the gig, I haven't got that gig in my diary, and I never have, because they'll sell the dream of me or whatever. I'm not. This makes me sound like I don't know, like
Yeah, no,
Beyonce. But they'll sell. Oh, this is what you get, and then close to the time, oh, actually, that's not who you're getting. And it's hard, really, because there's the agencies have got to protect what they're promoting, but I don't like that, because I've had people say, I got told you were at my wedding. I said, I've never been available for that,
Yeah.
And
so they're selling.
Yeah. Only some agencies, not all agencies.
They're
but
selling you as part of their
Yeah.
agency. Look, this is what you might get, but with every intention that you're never going to get that.
No.
Right, yeah, naughty. But I think...
It happens.
I think as
Agency.
for you guys, you could work as an agency. For me, I can work under a different brand, associate shooting and second shooting and things like that, and same with photographers. It's great to get that work, especially at the start.
Yeah,
but it's a different beast, and you've got to be aware of it. And like going back to what we were saying before, if I was a second shooting for someone and they ask for my details on the day, I'm like, well, we're called this. And I don't mention my name. You can't. I know you were handing out business cards.
Yeah, that's a big no.
It's a bit, and you got told, you got called for it because it is a no-no.
Well, I didn't know then. I didn't know the rules then, because I was so naive.
No, but it's not
behind the ear.
But it's good
rules.
that you said I'm not happy with that. So you
I didn't know that rule, to be honest.
But
when I found that rule out,
some will be more strict
off.
on it than others. But what you've done is gone, I'm going to do more under my name, and I'm going to cut this out. So you can make the decision of where you want to be in your business and what kind of weddings you want to do. And most, like us, we know that doing weddings under your own name with and doing them the way that you want to do them and getting to know your couples, it's such a more personal, enjoyable experience. But for some, they will prefer doing that.
Yeah, there's a lot of my friends, they
stuff,
don't want to do admin, they just
yeah.
want to turn up. If the big opportunity, I mean, it's got its negatives.
What it means
yeah.
to do that,
Yeah.
and pivoting in which direction you want to go in, and you've obviously decided that you want to do more under your own steam.
Yeah.
So
that
you can be you and you can sell yourself.
Yeah, but then with that as well. So this is just to not get cancelled. If you are wanting to work for agencies, it cuts out a lot of admin. You can turn up.
There's pros and cons,
if you're an artist, which I am as well, you can get yourself out of gigs by being replaced by somebody else. So I'm meant to be supporting Ellie at the Peace Hall with Entrance. I've got a wedding. I can't do it now.
In August?
Yeah.
Oh, you're not doing it?
No,
I'm going.
I'm so
I'm
stoned.
Are you
so
filming
sad.
it?
Yeah.
So my bride's booked me a long time ago. Ellie asked me a long time ago, but I've said I've got a wedding. And then the closer it's coming, she keeps asking me, are you sure you don't want to do it? And I'm like, I want to do it. No, I'm crying on the inside.
Yeah.
So I actually put it to my client 4 weeks before when we do our check-in. So I've got this big opportunity. I'm an artist. It's a huge opportunity. But obviously, if you're not comfortable with it, I'm going to come and turn up and be at your wedding, and I'm going to love being there. And this is no shade on you.
Yeah.
I'm giving you the opportunity. I have 2 great singers. I could even come and do an early set. I tried to give so many options. The bride's like, I'm really sorry, you're my vision and that's what I want. And that is when you're like, I have built a strong brand. I've built a strong identity. I've built this this business, which actually I need to fulfill. And actually she booked me first, and I have to put my ego, my artist, my ambitions aside for that, and I will turn up on that day and I'll smash it, and I'll make her feel like it's the best thing.
That's the other side to it, isn't it? Because as Adam Wing Films, I'm very much purposely called myself that because it's me and and that's how I market myself. But then it means that you can't send anyone else, and you've got to.
How many stories do we hear from other companies who? 2 days
of course
before,
they're going to be upset.
We're going to send somebody else.
Yeah.
And it's it's so. Imagine that.
But if they booked Howard Wing and you said, oh well, I can't make it, I'm sending my other guy, they're not going to be happy, are they?
No.
So you've
because they booked me for me, and they booked you for you. Don't
you're
they?
setting yourself up.
So there's pros and cons to both. So that's kind of something now I've also pivoted away and come up with a bit of an idea about how to fulfill that in the future. So I've got a good team of female singers that I trust and respect. I'd book them myself for my own events, and they are in my referral
I mean, the way to do that is sell that experience, but as a band, and whether one person's there or not doesn't matter. You still get that experience.
As long as you're managing the expectations and you make it clear from the start with the clients, then.
But when it's solo, It's all on you.
hard, yeah, it's
all on
really
me.
hard.
I do actually like that, to be honest.
I'll have an amazing day.
Yeah,
It'll be great.
I used to be in bands, and there's always fallouts. There's always things going on, and you feel responsible for other people. I like the fact it's just me.
Yeah.
And the book starts and stops with me, and I'm there to do my thing. I've had the odd time when I thought, oh God, I've got another thing I could have done somewhere else, but
it's hard.
You
yeah.
stay professional,
Yeah.
and you know it's your business reputation at the end of the day, don't you?
Yeah.
So yeah, because I mean, you are Franchesqua Sings, and Franchesqua Sings is you, and it does come across on your Instagram, because we've never met before today in person.
Yeah.
But I instantly recognise you because I feel like I know you already,
Yeah.
because I see you so much on social, and you do that whole personal branding thing, which I suppose comes with the territory of what you do. That's your act, it's your service. But we've talked, like when I started being trained off Howard, because you are an entertainer, you are very much on the personal branding. As a videographer, it was quite unique and rare for me to promote myself as a face, as a brand, than my videos. But I feel like that's been a unique thing that I've capitalised on, because most videographers are just sharing their work and their film. Same with photographers, you share your service, and even like florists. Here's my product. Here's my flowers.
What do you look
but
like?
Your personal brand is so important. Yeah, I get brides and grooms that book me because, well, I've been online and you're the only person on Instagram where we could see your face.
Yeah, it's
and
mad, that is it.
And you might think that's not important, but it really is.
It is.
Because you're spending you're turning up. You've still got to be there on the day. They want to feel like they know you, and that's an advantage that you guys have got.
Yeah.
But you really you really hone in on it on your branding. What is there anything that people can do that might be like, well, maybe I should do that, but I'm a bit nervous, because you seem so confident with it. You do so well with it. What's your experience with it?
When I first started singing, I would sing to the wall. Like, my mum had to pay me to turn around and sing and look at people in the eye, honestly. So I feel like I've been building confidence from a really young age. And my first job in Turkey, when I got the job singing there, I would look down at the floor while singing, and my manager said to me, if you don't start talking to people, we're sending you home. I was like, not back to my cheating ex. So confidence was forced into me. I mean, I've got a performing arts degree, so that's what I didn't train in music. I have a performing arts degree, so I've always been on a stage, in a show, with people. I'm from a big family.
Has it
I've got
always been
loads
in
of
you,
friends.
or has it been learned, do you think? Because I feel like you can learn it.
I think it's been learned, yeah. The talking on the story thing, I don't know. I've done that for years, and I know people don't, but I'm like, hi everyone, blah, 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 just because I can't be bothered typing.
That is one way
and
to
sometimes your
think about
tone,
it, yeah.
sometimes I go on my story and I'm a bit controversial. So I had a point where I've built up really good connections, and I was doing events down in London, events with different event planners that had handpicked me, maybe because of my award. I started being seen in other areas, and I had a few different singers like following all the people that were going on my story, and I didn't notice it for a while till I started seeing some of those event planners pop up, and they would like them, and I was like, there's no way they know them. And then I was like,
they're jumping on the back of your connections.
And then I started looking, I was like, oh my God, they're following some of my clients. Like, what the hell? So I was like, I'm going to have to talk about this. So I was at my friend's at the time, and she's got a cute little dog, and I jumped on with the dog, and I was like, hi everybody, just joking.
Like Dr. Evil.
Hello.
I said, if you're not a singer...
Right, I'm going to have a word with these. I'm going to call these people out.
No, do you know what?
My cat.
Do you know what? Because you know it yourself, right? When I do an event for someone, I need to tag them and share them and not claim it's my event. I want to collaborate with other people. But I was like, how do I do this and protect me as well? Because I'm doing that, and I'm basically saying, here's all these amazing people, go and work with them, you know. And it's almost like you're showing all your clients on your story, which I want to do. But I was like, right, I need to address this, because I'm going to still do that. But if you're doing this, you need to know what like the kind of code of conduct is. So I had my friend's cute dog. I was like, if you're not a singer, pass by, or if you know. But I was like, I've noticed lately there's a couple of people following a lot of my contacts. I see what you're doing, and it's great that we're all like trying to, you know, build more work, but these are like strong connections I've built. But the thing what was annoying me the most, it's not that I'm greedy and I want to keep them, I actually run an event called the Sinker Social where I bring experts in their field. It's a free event. I bring lots of singers together, give out so much information, give them gigs. You know, I'm a giver, and I was like, I'll give. But if someone's going to jump on and take when I'm already giving, I'm like, then that makes me change who I am as a person. And what harms me is when what I stand for is harmed because of people's actions. So it was really hard to get that across without going on and having a cute dog and talking about it. So
if you wrote that as text,
it would be
could come
passive
across the wrong
aggressive.
way.
Like, who does she think she is?
Just by the way, don't worry about shit like that.
I know,
Well, listen, you should be flattered more than anything else.
I know. It was a bad day.
Just don't let that worry, because that will. It's happened to me. I'm sure it's happened to Adam. And some people, they're a bit naive. They're not sure. They're just gonna. They think they'll take a course on social media. All right, follow them. Do everything they're doing. Follow this. It could
It's not
just be
authentic
that.
though, is it?
It's not authentic. No, but that will show.
Yeah.
And you will probably always be above them people anyway, even though they're seemingly copying and trying to connect with all your clients. So don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Don't
I think
stress you
having a
out.
bad
people
day.
fall into bad practices.
Yeah.
And they might not know any
like
better.
giving your business cards out to an agent.
Hopefully,
On
hopefully
agency.
you calling out makes
Yeah.
them go, oh yeah, maybe I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
I guess that's the idea. But
It's hard, isn't it? Because like,
don't let it get to you. Yeah.
oh no, like I think it was off the back of a lot of things. Like, so, you know, I'd be getting certain outfits or singing certain songs that I see people don't sing. I'm
And
like,
then all of a sudden they are
everyone's
doing
singing it. Like,
Welcome to my world.
I know. Welcome to my world.
Imagery is the fun.
It is, and I was speaking to Ellie a lot about this, and you know, Ellie gets this 10 times over, and we're really, really good friends, and we're like, she's like, I used to get annoyed by it, but it's flattery, and you know, you're 10 steps ahead, and blah blah blah. But you know, I have an idea a minute, so it's great for me because I'm like, oh, you're gonna copy that? I'll just do something else. But there was a point where I was like, oh my God, can anybody do their thing? Because how do you differentiate between people apart from price? It's like, it's the brand, it's the songs they sing, it's what they wear, it's how they... So when people are mimic, even down to my captions and my hashtags and all sorts of things that there's words I say like lush because I'm from Wales and people start to say that. Come on, like, come on.
Imitation is the biggest form of flattery.
And now I'm like, oh, go on, do your thing. I'm not bothered.
It's just one of the little learning things that people are going to come across, aren't they, at some point?
Yeah.
So,
yes.
I'm sure you get loads of DM inquiries.
Oh, yeah.
And all that kind of stuff.
Which
So
is nice, thank you.
what is your client journey from when somebody's interested in booking you? How does that look? What things do you do? Take us through that process. Somebody's gone onto your website or they've DM'd you. Hi, Franchesqua. I love your shizzle. We're thinking of booking.
Yeah.
You look lush.
We're a family-friendly podcast.
Shizzle.
So, we're interested in booking. Can you give us some details? Are you free in this? What is the client journey, and what do you do to ensure, if it's a wedding that you want to take, that you get that booking at the end? What do you do?
So it depends where the inquiry comes from, because you'll know, like, you'll get Instagram, website, email, different things. So there's lots of different ways, and I'm trying to filter that down. So I do.
Where does most of it come from? Just
Instagram
quickly.
and my website. Yeah. Or through a friend recommendation. So it might be WhatsApp, you know.
Right.
So I try and put my website link a lot in my story to say,
Come through there.
You could go to there, because it's hard to, you know, when you get emails, WhatsApps, Instagrams, it's hard to filter that. And when you're actually gigging on the weekend, and a lot of the inquiries come on the weekend because you're more active, it's hard. And because social media is so instant, I want to put up stuff. Some of it's scheduled as well. I'm not even on at that point. Yeah. So I try and get everyone to go to my website, because then they'll inquire, they'll have to fill in a few details, because are you available on December the 8th? For what
So the first
country?
thing you would do, if
Yeah.
it comes from Facebook somewhere else, you will then try and filter them through your website.
Or get their email address at least. Email address if it's come through Instagram, because I'm like, I used to send them to their website, but I'm like, I want to try and make it easy for them. So send me your
But you want
information.
if you can send them direct to your form on your website, then you know that
great,
you're
it's
getting
all
the
there.
info.
Yeah.
You can ask questions then.
So it's easier.
So best
so that's
practice,
the easy best
through,
practice.
through
Come
the
to my
website.
website. Most common through Instagram, and then I just ask them a few bits of information, because I don't want them to then go to my website if I'm not available. So what's the date? What's the location? What are you interested in?
I love hi, are you free for my wedding?
When is it?
Might be. any more?
Yeah. So try and get the information. And now I've got a get a quote thing on my Instagram, which asks that information now. So if you've not got that, that's a great button to have.
Okay.
Apart from it has been bouncing back. So that's the biggest problem, isn't it? Spam and junk. So I get all that information. Then I check if I'm available. And then I check if they're asking for certain things like sax or my band or whatever. I find out their availability. I'll send them over like a generalised PDF, but I do say on it, like it's got a ballpark figure of most of the musicians. But now I'm actually going to change that. So because I work with lots of different people and there's a different standard. So sometimes if you want like that certain DJ, they're much more expensive, much more premium, and they kind of match what quality I'm bringing. But a DJ might not be important to you. You might want just like a run of the mill, and you might want to save some more of your entertainment budget for a guitarist or something.
So your first thing you do, you reply to them and you'll ask them
See if I'm available. Yeah, what they want.
And then you're going to ask what they want.
Yeah.
And then you'll get back. So you've got this email correspondence going on.
Yeah.
So the first thing is reply back. Yeah, I'm free on the day. This is what I offer. What is it you're after? And then do you carry on that conversation through emails?
So they get a PDF as well.
So the PDF is all on there.
If I'm available and if it's something that's right for me as well, because not every booking might be right for me.
So is it all email up until they decide that
Email, I say to them if they want to have a phone call, they can, but I'm trying to limit that. So I only do phone calls for 4 hours a week on a Monday and Wednesday.
Okay. Is that just you were trying
and that's normally my current clients, and it's 4 weeks before.
Time and stuff.
Yeah, I don't have time.
So you'll take the booking via an email. Yeah, okay, that's fine.
Because they've seen enough of me on Instagram. They know I'm a real person. It's not like I'm a business. Well, I am a business, but they know what they're getting. If they've got any questions, or I think, oh, this is a bit more complicated, would you like to have a conversation?
Yeah.
And that will always convert. And sometimes even more. They'll want, oh, I didn't know you did that.
You're right. They've seen so much of you on social media.
You can see everything on there.
I can imagine that because it's all there to be seen.
Yeah.
So that PDF you send out, this is really important because this is where kind of upsells come in, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So you've got it all right. This is me. This is what I offer. Oh, by the way, we've got the band, we've got the sax.
Yeah.
So you're giving them an option. I think that's always important. We always said like have 3 things at least for what you do.
Yeah, definitely.
The small, the medium, and the large.
Yeah.
It's proven for years. Yeah. But different with me now because it's just me and I have one fee and that's it. I keep it really simple.
Yeah, and there's I almost want to do that and scale it down again, but also it's got things like ceremony example set lists in there. It's got frequently asked questions. Basically, I found that clients would ask me a lot of the same questions, so I put it in a client pack. So they get a client pack. They get my award at the beginning. So they're like, oh, best in the UK.
I'm going to go on to that. That's the next question, actually.
Which has been great for me because that was a real kind of like, oh, right, you can be confident in what you're doing.
But it's good that because obviously you get so many inquiries, it takes care of a lot of time, I think, for you, doesn't it? By having them, there's everything that I do, pick off what you want, let me know.
Book me. If you don't, fine.
And they'll say, we want to book that. You send a booking fee, job done. Happy
How
days,
much correspondence do you reckon you have with them from there up until the wedding day?
A lot. Yeah. And now I'm trying to minimise that. Not because I don't want to talk to people, but I want to get there and have all the information in one document. So I've got a Google form. So basically, I like to take the booking, give them the booking form, payment plan as well, just so they can spread it out because they're used to that. And I don't want them to be like, oh, it's super expensive. I want them to be like, we're paying it off in installments because they might have booked lots of musicians through me. And then we'll touch base 4 weeks before. I'll send over to the venue the public liability, my PAT testing certificate. We'll discuss their colour schemes because I'll try and blend in with what they've done on the day.
That's a great tip.
Yeah, because if they spent thousands on dressing their wedding venue and I come up in this and they've got sage and
well, if
white.
if it's black and white theme and you're in pink,
I think I'm a very detailed person. That's my business card on my nails.
Check you out. It's dead easy for me because there's no really. It's like black tie and that's it. And I kind of fit in with everything.
That's a really good tip because obviously, like you think you're at a wedding, you've got to try and dress smart and presentable and professional, but to actually get to ask them what their theme is, what their colour scheme, dress code, whatever, and then match it.
Yeah.
that's going above and beyond. Isn't
We
it?
always talk
Yeah.
about
And
what
I bet
can
they
you do
appreciate
different.
that.
Yeah, they love it. Like,
We talk about what things
it means
can
I
you
can buy more outfits.
can you do different if you compared to your competition. That is certainly one of the things.
If you're
is-
any type of supplier and you're thinking about turning up to a wedding in a t-shirt and a pair of jeans,
Oh,
joggers,
yeah.
trainers, whatever,
It's what people turn.
take
it's
note
like-
of this.
Yeah.
it's
This
a
is
bit
good.
of a
I
pet
don't like
peeve.
that. I see.
I see people do, unless you're a makeup artist and you're only
Yeah.
going to the house in the morning. Fair enough.
I feel like girls have got it hard. Like, I see guys in black t-shirts, black jeans, trainers.
I disagree.
Not
with
even
that,
clean
though,
trainers.
I have to say,
I do disagree. I don't like that.
it would put
But
me off.
girls, the girl group that I've got, we have a different theme for every event that we do. We all colour combo. We don't wear matching outfits as well, so we have our identities. So I'm a bit of a jumpsuit girl, so I wear a jumpsuit. Our percussionist likes her arms to be free, but we all like coordinate what we
Yeah.
do.
But it's a branding thing, isn't it?
That's why you go into the luxury market, because of the details. If people have spent thousands on a venue and you turn up with your gear in an Aldi bag. I have seen it. You have to care.
Whoa, we're not knocking
no, I'm
Aldi.
not. No, I love
Love
Aldi.
Aldi.
Love Aldi. Their
Just don't bring her
skincare-
back to a wedding.
Their skincare is amazing. But yeah,
And
it's about the
Aldi were
details.
available for sponsorship. If you're wondering.
We always take a sponsorship.
no, I get it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just still, you
That's
don't
just
want to
me,
look.
but some people aren't bothered.
And also, when you're representing a luxury brand or you're
Yeah.
charging X amount,
Yeah.
you want to be. You
Yeah.
want to look
The
the,
detail,
part, don't
yeah,
you?
of course, yeah. Because how can you say you're luxury if you don't even care about what you present yourself?
Oh, God.
Like, you've walked,
So
as soon as you
important.
walk, even what I set up in, I turn up and I'm on my brand when I'm setting up, but then I'll go with their colour scheme when I'm in the ceremony room.
Smelly photographers
I think
do my
I
editing.
even try and wear labels in my clothes because
Oh, yeah.
there's part of me, especially
Designer,
if I'm doing the more sort of high end
Yeah.
weddings. If I'm wearing a certain label,
Yeah.
then they'll see me as like, oh, he's kind of in this circle. He's right. To
I'm
be.
always in the
and it's-
Abbey, and it's expensive.
whether it's right or wrong, I think especially higher end clients, they'll look at that and go, okay, yeah, he's one of us.
Yeah.
You know?
Psychological, isn't it?
Yeah,
Well,
it is.
I'm in £1 million houses, and I'm from
Not
a
that I
working,
spend fortunes.
but I'm from a working class background, and to get me out of that, I've had to almost like carve this. Now, I'm not working class, but now I've come from that, and it's like what I smell like. Clients hug me and they're like, "You
Yeah.
smell amazing." I'm like,
Yeah, it's
"Thanks,"
important, isn't it?
And it's smell. If you think about the client journey, it's like what you smell, what you sound like, what you look like. All
Everything,
the senses peel into that.
It all works together. doesn't
I
it?
know we're jumping from topic
Yeah, sorry.
to topic, but you mentioned about being a woman having to dress differently.
Yeah.
I feel like in the wedding industry, it's a bit more sort of women orientated, and
Yeah.
But do you feel like there's a difference between being a woman and coming up and doing it
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to a man?
Yeah, so when I turned 30, I came into my own, and that was only last year. But I came into my own, and I was like, do you know what? Guys get away with being assertive, get away with being firm, get away with being really blunt, and getting away with being really short. Girls fluff a lot up. Sorry, if you think you can do that, would that be okay, please? And I was like, I'm going to change that tone. I'm going to be like, this is what I'd like, blah, 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 blah. And people respect that. Obviously, if I'm like that in a certain way, some people are like, oh, she's a right diva to work with. I'm not. I'm nice. I carry my equipment in. I'll help you coil your cables. I'll get you water if you're a DJ. I will go above and beyond for everyone that comes into play with me. But I do have boundaries. And as a female, you have to think about a lot. You have to think about your safety. You're driving on your own to venues. You're leaving late at night. People see you carrying a lot of stuff to the car. You're on your own. I don't have my number on my business card. So when I used to have my number on my business card, I get unsolicited phone calls asking me for date. Not many, but dates, things like that. So my number came off my business card, even down
Really?
to
Yeah.
a couple of weeks before, if my clients haven't done a phone call with me, they're like, Jessica, can I have your phone number? I'm like, yeah. That was a conscious decision. Also, that's probably why I don't post where I am on that day. You're almost advertising where you are.
Yeah.
Also, I went limited this year, and I was like, oh, damn, I put my address, but now I've changed all that. Things like that. I am around males more than I'm around females, but I've changed that this year. So I work with a lot of males. And there's a lot of things that have come up this year and have been real red flags. And I'm like, I need to protect me. So I've brought more females into the mix, and I employ way more. I don't employ them as in like they work for me, but if people want a sax player, I try and say, please can you book a female sax player? One, we're going to bring the energy, we're going to bring cool, like nice outfits, we're going to bring like personality, but also I'm going to feel safe because I've got another girl to back me as well. Because not always a guy will back you. Also, I'm roaming on the dance floor. I have had like my bum grabbed.
Yep.
I've had all that sort of thing. And
from the men or from the women?
From the men. But I've heard men that have had women grab them, so I know it's like, yeah, exactly. So I know. So,
but we put ourselves in that situation, so sometimes.
But do we?
Yeah.
Do we put ourselves in that situation?
Acceptable.
No.
It's not acceptable, but.
But what I wear as well, I try and turn it classy. So I'm fun, I'm cute, and what I wear, it's a bit of fun. I'm not provocative.
Yeah.
I don't come off provocatively. You know, women do get a lot of stick, but also, like, if you know me, like I checked in with one of my friends. She's called Daisy. She's amazing, and
Daisy Sings. There's a singer.
Yeah. She does about 5 gigs a day. She is the hot. Yeah, she plays guitar. Yeah, amazing.
Right.
Hey Daisy. She is always on her own, like working a lot. And I just checked in with her, like, hi babe, like how are you doing? Like, you know, how's things? Like, I see you're really busy. Like, let's get a coffee or a walk and do both. And hope you're okay. Like, if you need anything.
Bit of a network of the girls going on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always voice noting the girl, like all the time. Like, we ring each other on the way home so we don't fall asleep. Some of the girls.
I see and hear of a lot of like, you know, WhatsApp groups and girls networking and stuff. And it's you know, it's great support, but it's great for networking. And it's nice just to have people that you can talk about these things
and ask them questions like, do you think this is okay? Because I don't want anyone to undersell themselves. I don't want anyone to go into anything not feeling confident. I want people to not make mistakes. I want people to go in and kind of not repeat any mistakes that I might have made. And just feel good about what they're doing. I spent Monday night, I should have been doing my tax return, and I spent 3 hours helping my sister rebrand her business because I want people around me to do well, because when they do well, it gives me such a buzz.
Yeah. So from a woman's point of view then, it's as a whole point of view, have a great network, but also have a little girl network.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where you can all learn and help them, because you might be having similar or different experiences what say men will do, and it's like how can you learn from it? It's interesting. That's
good.
That's
definitely.
a good lesson for people.
You'd like to think that you wouldn't have to think about these things.
No, but you do, don't you?
Unfortunately, you do. Now and again, you.
But you do, it happens, and
because you do come across some plebs sometimes. Wedding awards. This is the first time I actually came across Franchesqua. And it was wild because I judged the wedding awards. I don't want to go on about it, but
how much of an impact was it for your business?
From me, business-wise, I'm not going to say it didn't help, because it has, and it's reassured my clients. And then when I get on with the clients I've already booked me, they're like, "Oh my god, I knew you were good. I knew you were good, but now," and I'm like, "We didn't think you were going to turn up because you were." I'm like, "No, I'm the same person."
It's about weddings, so I'm going to do your wedding.
It helped me as in being like, actually, I knew my worth, but I wasn't sure of it. And not much changed in what I offer, but I was like, it's just nice to know that people can see my worth before I even have to explain it. But actually, the day after the awards, I was so sad. I was like, oh my God, I'm so burnt out, and I'm so like not coping with everything, and I now need to work really hard. Like,
I had a very similar experience when I won the national.
I cried.
I had this amazing euphoria, and then I had this crash. I worked so hard to win that award, and
I worked so hard.
And loads of funny emotions were going around, but at the end of the day, it's a great marketing tool.
I know, because I've been in it. You put a lot into it, don't you? And the build up, and on the night when you're waiting to be announced, but if you care about it, then you do. You put everything into it, and it's emotional, and then it's achieved. But then it's like, well, now what? And it's that fight, because it's like a finite.
Never achieve your dreams. Always nearly be there.
Because it's a finite goal. It's like, oh, now what?
Well, I have this in here, and it says the best.
I want to rephrase that. So never achieve your dreams. But if someone is, when you've achieved a dream, you need another one to replace it straight away, and then you've got something else to strive for.
There's a guy I follow called Simon Sinek, and it's the infinite goal versus the fine art goals, and people like, you know, gold medalists and you know, athletes, because
Tyson Fury when he won
I want to get to gold, and then once you get there,
what's next?
What's after that? Nothing. You all of a sudden, all your life leading up to that one thing, it's like, now what?
Well, I felt like there
So
was
you
a
should have
spotlight
more
on
of a-
me
but-
after that.
But
which
winning
is
the
great.
award, the kind of infinite version of that is, I want to win this award, and I want to win it because then it will allow me to do the next thing, and then that's a better way of framing it. Because I remember when I entered, you were like, enter the awards because they're going to be great for business.
Yeah.
They're going to get you this. So it was another stepping stone
Yeah.
to the ultimate, never achievable goal of just being busy forever and doing well.
Yeah, I think
That was my way of looking at it.
I think I owe a lot to Tweer because they're so supportive. It was an amazing award, and I feel lucky to be in the lineup with so many incredible people. I genuinely, and I'm not just saying, I did not expect to even win the regionals. I was so shocked. I'd chip nail varnish. I'd come from a workshop, so I work with kids doing music therapy sessions, songwriting if they're struggling with like anxiety, you know, transitioning gender, like from a scale. I worked with them, and I came from the workshop. Nice. I ate my McDonald's in the car. I got changed in the car park because I had no time.
Yeah.
And I went straight in. I had chip nail varnish. The announcement was like, "What the?" And I was like, all I was thinking is, chip nail varnish. Because I didn't think I even had a chance. The next awards, the Nationals, I was like, I'm going to get my nails done, I'm going to do all this.
It's a big night out, the
Oh
London
my God,
one, isn't
I was
it?
so drunk, I didn't even do like the video bit. I went to a club after with the award in my clutch bag and I dropped it.
That's
it's
one
fine.
of the benefits of going to the awards is the party. It's amazing.
It's amazing. But it did, after it, I was like, oh, everyone's going to be, there's the best. And as much as our industry is amazing, it's also clicking. And as now the national best musical act, I'm not a recommended supplier for anyone. No venues opened up the door for me. Nobody really opened up any doors for me in the industry.
Okay.
Which was interesting, and I even did a whole like email round like a month later, like I just didn't. I'd love to know if you had any wedding fairs, any open days, blah blah blah. Blah. No, I don't know. Oh, we've got a supply list, blah 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 blah. I don't know where that comes.
I think there's an association with, she won't bother with us
I
anymore.
don't know
kind of
because
thing.
any venue that I work at have such a good. I don't know. I wasn't in with him, so it's mad because people do book recommended suppliers, and I'm not on any of them lists, and it's ironic because I've got this award, but my clients love me. All the suppliers that work with me love me. All the people that kind of aspire to do what I do love me. And I was like,
Sometimes people
What is
are
that?
on them lists for different reasons, though, and don't worry about it. At the end of the day,
Yeah, I know.
at the end
I'm
of the
over
day,
it now,
you have
but-
to think about the people who are
Yeah.
booking you and what that award does for them.
Yeah.
It gives them reassurance.
Yeah.
It gives them confidence to booking somebody who has just been crowned the best in the UK at that
Yeah,
particular
yeah.
thing.
It's the Tweer in particular, compared to other awards in our
It's
industry,
so authentic and
is a
legit.
real pat on the back because it's judged by your fellow industry experts, and Howard does it as well.
Yeah.
And bride and groom is obviously originally.
The clients, it's the clients, isn't it? It's the clients
And you
award,
get the
I
feedback
feel. Yeah,
and-
the feedback was amazing.
Yeah, it's not a popularity contest.
No.
You're
Which
being
is
judged
that
correctly.
That actually
Yeah.
reflects the fact that I'm not on all these lists,
Yeah.
and all the photographers and all the suppliers that work with me always recommend me, and they're like, "Oh, this person recommended you." But it's interesting,
Well, that's
isn't
brilliant.
it?
Yeah.
Does it attract clients? Do clients see that and love it?
Oh, I
and
mean,
feel
it's the
reassured?
first thing you see when you
Yeah.
go on my thing. I'm not, it is great, but also I don't know if it's come from that because a lot of my clients come from seeing me. Genuinely,
Yeah.
bridesmaids
But it's an
book
extra
me.
element
It's a
as
great,
well.
it's
So imagine
extra,
somebody's
extra
seen you
accolade.
and it's a couple, and the mum and dad are paying for the wedding. We want to book this Franchesqua Sings. She's really good. Oh, well, who's this girl? She's just won the wedding awards.
Yeah.
It's an extra bit
Yeah.
of something, not just for them, but for maybe the person who's paying
because
the
you work
bill.
hard, and it made, as soon as I won that award, so I've been rebranding my website, like I did loads of things, like I can't even, there's loads of stuff I did literally for weeks and weeks. I reorganized my whole, like whatever I was doing, I was like, I need to be 200 times better than that now.
But so it's made you
Yeah.
raise your game. See,
Yeah,
for
it
me,
made me
when I
raise
won
my
it,
game massively.
I mean, I was still doing the same
It is,
act,
it's
but
kick
I
up the
raised
bum, isn't
certain
it?
games before when I was in the award, when I won it that time, there's certain things that I raised. It definitely does make you do that. And then after, I suppose you've got a responsibility to keep to that level, haven't you?
It's a responsibility.
So I think it's a good thing all around. Luckily, we've got the founder of TWIA at some point. I'll tell you about in a minute. He got back to me. He's coming on the podcast.
I'll have to come for a brew after.
Damien, he's great.
Would you do it again?
So nobody knows this, but
crown.
I got nominated on my birthday by one of my brides.
So you're in it. You're going in it again.
I'm in it again. Haven't really publicised it yet because I feel scared. I'm going to be. I didn't expect it last time. It did make me raise my game, but I am scared because if I don't win, I'm like, oh, she won last year, but she didn't win this year. It's scary, but also I have done it because my client has gone to the effort of nominating me on my birthday, because I worked on my birthday as well. I did a wedding all day on my birthday, sang happy birthday. It was amazing.
Yeah, I've done that before.
And it didn't feel like work. It was amazing. I was like, oh. And I was like, well, if they've done that and I don't do it, then it's almost saying like, F you. So I've done it, and I've started slowly, because I've not really got much time. I've started slowly getting in touch with my clients and saying like, I'm up for this award, can you? And it's really important, if you are watching this and I have done your wedding, please vote for me. I don't want to spam you and ask you, but it's the clients that it's for. But it's for me to keep raising my game, because when you hit gold, you want to keep going. So I wasn't going to do it. I got nominated again. I was like, I'm going to do it.
I mean, that's a
I wouldn't have
5-star
done
review in itself, isn't it? For a client of yours to then nominate you for that, it's a nice thing.
It's amazing. So even just to read the feedback and mix with everyone, mingle. I love a party. I love a mingle. Yeah.
I remember because the first year I went in it, I won the region. I didn't win the national. I remember me and Sam were sat up in bed and we got all the feedback from all the couples. When we're both reading, I was in tears.
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
I mean, I get feedback, I get thank you cards and stuff,
but it's so
but just to see all these, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
But even for them, you've got a load of usable quotes, haven't you? There's so many benefits. We can talk about this more detail with Damien, but there's so many benefits to that awards that people don't realise. You've got a load of quotes that are real from real people that can be used, and that's
even
just
clients
that
didn't review me at the time, because I didn't have a Google review at the time. So
so
I
encourages them to actually leave a review that they maybe would always have intended to do, just never found the time or whatever. Yeah.
But I actually didn't have much time to gather my votes, so I was in the last one about 3 weeks before they were closing it, and burnt out, like eating dinner all the time in my car, just struggling to survive. 175 weddings last year, like crazy amount. Yeah, I know, ridiculous amount. And I had 3 weeks to pull all these clients like together and say, please, can you vote for me? And I was like, no chance, not at all. And my website was rubbish. Like I didn't even add my videos to the Twitter thing, but luckily I've got enough on socials. So I was like, oh, there's no chance. And then I was like, oh, damn, I've not put this on. I've not done that. I've not put this on. But I do think I show that I'm in and amongst people. I do an amazing job. I care so much. Like I stay after I shouldn't even be there. Like I care so much. Moving the bride's dress, like fixing things, like fixing details, like, things are falling over in the ceremony. I'm fixing them,
I think this is a common theme, I think, with the best in the industry. They always go the extra mile.
What you're doing is you're really looking after your clients and putting them first, and then that will always trump everything else, because they're going to, when they vote for you in these awards and they're writing the feedback, they'll put so much more into it because they know the level of care you went to.
Yeah.
And then that will then inform the judges that actually you're...
and I read that stuff.
So, question. This is good. I'm going to ask you a question, Howard.
Can't give too much.
I hope this doesn't affect my chances.
It has to be confidential if it's wedding award stuff, because as a judge, you've got to be respectful to the rules. But go on then.
Well, I can ask the question. You just decline to answer it if you can't.
Ask me. Ask away.
Not that you knew at the time, but you're a judge on the...
I didn't know.
For her category.
What
was it that stood out about Franchesqua's thing?
Oh, this is going to be so nice.
As a judge for the wedding industry awards,
are you allowed to answer that? Like, what made Franchesqua's as one of the judges? You were part of the reason that she won. So
I can state what's obvious about why Franchesqua is winning in the wedding industry.
Yeah.
Whether I can specifically put that attaches to the wedding awards or not, but it's pretty obvious from everything we've talked about today.
I can edit this out if it's no good.
yeah, but from everything we've talked about today, her level of professionalism, the way she presents herself online, the way that she is with her clients, the service that she provides, the quality of her singing, her website, her contact, everything has to work together and have the overall package for me as a judge. Now, another judge in our category might look her solely on her singing ability. The good thing with Frances, she's got it all. So she really did stand out head and shoulders, but for anybody else who want to raise the game, you know what to do now.
Don't raise your game. I need to win.
Wedding industry awards are good because there are several judges, so you get all the different viewpoints.
Yeah.
So it's more. It's not just like a favouritist thing. There's several judges with their own kind of what they're looking for. But
yeah, I can't give too much detail on what
and I don't want you to
do,
because actually I didn't even think about, because obviously when I agreed to this, I wasn't in the. We'd arranged that I was going to come on, and I wasn't doing the tweer. And now I'm like, oh God, I hope this doesn't look like, because I have no intentions, but now I'm in it. So please don't do anything that's going to harm my chances, Howard.
Well, you know, I even met Franchesqua last year when we was actually in the throes of doing the judging, actually. And that's when I'd met you for the first time. But obviously I'd seen you because we've got a lot of mutual friends, haven't we? But I'd not met you before that. So there's no bias at all with me when I did my judging.
I think the answer I was trying to get out of you was that it's, if you are entering these things, it's not all about your product and your service. It's about,
everything.
like, as a judge, you're looking at not just the product. No matter what type of supplier you are, if you're entering these sorts of things, it's not just about the product. It's about your website. It's about your social media. It's about how you come across online. It's and you're, as a judge, you're looking at all of that. There's no stone unturned.
But also, you're reading every single one of the comments that the bride and grooms that you work for, they have to answer all these questions and and you know, we go through all that and we read it, and there's some that really, really stand out, and you know by reading their answers, you know how well. I certainly know what makes the difference for me. It's like, wow, this is going above and beyond and comes across. But across every element, not just one of the elements. So if somebody, it's like with a video, I suppose, it's not just about yours the best video,
It's the person.
or you're the best singer. There's a lot of other factors that go into it which we have to judge. So, so yes.
I feel like as well, that's actually quite interesting. So all my reviews, like, they'll mention like, oh, great voice or great music or whatever, but it's almost like she just made me feel so special, or she got my grand dancing that hasn't danced for years. And it's all those, and you know what, that's why I do it. Like, my biggest catchphrase, everyone that knows me, I'm no Mariah Carey, but I can entertain a room. I'm a good singer. I have a great knowledge of music. I can be flexible, pivot. I can bring something really gorgeous for the ceremony, but then bring the drinks reception lively, or the wedding breakfast, get everyone up with napkins, which you started.
I did it start.
No, but I can do that singing thing, but without them having to book a singing waiter. But actually, I used to be a waitress, so maybe
the singing waitress.
But
you're a great singer, but
all the other details.
But what you really do well is
everything.
The experience, and but how to behave on a wedding, the experience on a wedding.
It's not about me on the day; it's about them. And
it's providing an atmosphere
that's
that
what the top people do,
want
and that's
to get from you, isn't it?
All the best players that we speak to know that fact. It's about the whole thing and looking after your clients on the day and the experience that you create for them. And it's not just about the service.
Yeah, and it's not about me. It's not. This isn't my show, even though they've booked me to be a show.
Yeah.
It's about you.
It has to be both ways as well, doesn't it? If I always say it's not Howard Wing's show, but I'm going to bring the atmosphere.
Oh yeah, but you'll bring Howard Wing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right.
Bringing it back to all about you.
Bringing it back, people.
Bringing it back.
So to end, as you
We've got
might
a couple
know,
of ends,
I
haven't
think Franchesqua is our top listener, biggest fan of the podcast.
Yes, I am.
So you
Listen
might
to
know
everything.
what's coming next.
Okay.
But we're going to ask you.
My comment.
The what?
Was it my comment?
No. This is the story.
Okay.
Is it the story you're going to ask?
Oh well, let's share the comment because you said that this is
go on.
Our podcast has replaced your list. It's you listen to us instead of
because I always listen to podcasts on the way to wedding.
But you're now listening to us instead of
But obviously, you need some more episodes now because I've completed them.
But we've got to drop the name in. You're listening
who are you
to
listening
us
to
now
instead of The Diary of a CEO, which I listen to
Steve
religiously.
Bartlett, in your
Steve
face.
Bartlett. Ooh, maybe you could get him on.
By the way,
Anyway,
I love your
Love
podcast.
your show.
I listen to your podcast
It's
every
so
single
good.
day. I absolutely do.
I adore him. And do you know what?
We've taken a bit of inspiration from Steve Bartlett's
That's helped me level
podcast.
up, you know.
Yeah, leveling up.
It's really helped me level up that podcast as well.
So-
Both podcasts.
Doesn't it?
So you might know what's coming, but we always ask. We want an embarrassing or funniest or most wildest wedding story from a wedding that you've done.
Okay.
And then we have the whole what would you do? What else would you do in the industry if you weren't a singer?
Okay.
Which one
Well,
are you gonna go?
starting with the wildest story. 'cause it's
Okay.
always a
Go
good
on.
one.
Right. I didn't really have one till last week. Okay, so
You're more prepared than most guests that we get
No.
because you're the only one that's
I
actually
didn't
listened
have
to us
one.
so far.
I didn't have one, right? So it was just going to be, a bride did like a twirl and fell on the floor, and I was actually videoing at the time. I was like, that was like funny, but it was
pretty
like,
good, but yeah. We can do better.
So last week, I did a wedding, and I won't mention where or the guests, but if you're watching this, you probably know it's you. So I did a wedding. I did the wedding breakfast, and then I was with the band in the evening. And then we finished early because they had like DJ sax percussion. I went over to speak to the bride, and the groom said bye and everything, because I always do that. Some people don't, and it's wild, but I go and say bye, blah, 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 put my my power bank, my charger, and my phone and keys and everything on the table. But before that, I'd got my power bank out of my boot and I'd walked into the venue. So I was kind of like, when you're doing things, but you're doing them like in autopilot.
Yeah.
So I walked into the venue, said bye, but I was chatting for ages. Then I went to go and I lifted up my stuff, and then I went to my car and I was like, oh my God, where are my car keys? I was like, where are they? And I was like, oh God, I hope I haven't locked them in the boot now, because I don't think my car self-locks. So I walked back into the venue, searched the whole venue. I mean, everyone's drunk. It's like 10 o'clock at night. It's like, you get no sense, asking all the staff, retracing my steps, looking in the toilets, looking everywhere. 2 hours I searched, under the stage,
No shit.
everything. This is all going on. And I'm like, oh my God. Bearing in mind, the band leader stayed as well with me. He could have gone, and he dropped me home, and it's an hour from my house. Dropped me home, and he's like, get home. It's been a long day for you. Sort it out in the morning. You've got your spare key. I was like, yeah, I've got my spare key at home. That day, it was absolutely chucking it down. So on the way out, I was like, oh, grab my other coat, which is like my coat going over to Morrison's. So it's got a set of keys in there.
Yeah.
Spare keys in my coat. Where is that coat? In my car. Locked in the venue. So my spare keys I don't even have. My car's at the venue as well. I ring up the venue. They're like, we're going to shut the gates at 5. This is Sunday as well. I was like, I hadn't had a day off in weeks. I was like, oh my God. My boyfriend's like, you'll ruin our Sunday.
Super late and you can't get in your house. And
Oh no, I could get in my house because my boyfriend let me in. He's like,
Okay.
oh, you're right, dope, aren't you? Like, letting me in at 1 a.m. or whatever. He's like, where's your keys? I was like, oh, don't ask. I'll tell you in the morning. I ruined the Sunday. We were meant to go for a nice walk and go for Sunday roast. Once again,
Yeah,
my
no
job ruining it, because I'm always working. So I was ringing locksmiths to get me to this venue, to go to the venue. Go to the venue. All the wedding guests are still there because they paid extra to have the day,
Oh, right.
so they could have a barbecue. How nice.
where's that?
Oh, it's
Rem-
do you
yeah, do you know
going to
what?
say?
Can I?
Oh, Rembury.
mean,
All right,
do you know what? It
okay.
doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter.
Rembury.
It's happened to me, didn't it?
Yeah.
Rembury Hall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lovely venue. Amazing staff. Went above and beyond to search. Above and beyond. Amazing venue. All the clients are still there, and I'm like, oh my God, this locksmith turns up, and he's struggling to get in my car, and he's like, right, well, we might have to get it towed, and it might cost this. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm losing the world to live here. Gets it. He's like, we might have to do this balloon technique. And I was like, what does that do? You might break the seal. I was like, oh God, what's my options?
I want to know what that is. Carry on.
Yeah, well, you're not allowed to watch. Not allowed to watch, or else you could steal someone else's car.
I get it.
Gets
I get
in,
it.
my coat's in there, get the keys, great. Open my boot, keys aren't there. Where are they? Still nowhere to be found in the venue. So I say to the bride, could you do me a favour? Could you put it on your story? Because if someone's got them or knows where they are,
Guests, yeah.
10 o'clock at night, she's like, oh my God, so-and-so has them. She doesn't even drive. I was like, well, why has she got my blooming keys? Fair enough if somebody drove or had a similar car to me. And I was like, what the hell? I paid for this locksmith. I've lost my whole Sunday.
And a guest has stolen your keys?
Not
Picked them up
technically
by
stolen, but
accident.
not picked them up by
Yeah, yeah,
accident.
yeah.
Ended up in the minibus with him. I was like, right, okay, so how do I get these keys? Oh, she's left him at so-and-so's house. So I'm like, right, okay. So I arranged the next day to go and pick these keys up. So this has been like over a 3-day span. I'm like, oh my God. So then I'm like, well, what happens now, right? I want the client to have the best experience, but why am I paying for this? So like, now I'm in this like, I shouldn't really be paying. Who's going to pay? Blah, blah, blah. Like,
somebody else's
so
fault.
now it's still a bit open, and I'm still down and lost my Sunday. I'm not bothered about the time, but also I'm like, oh,
it's
what a
tricky,
stress.
isn't it?
So that's the worst thing that's ever happened to me. It was horrendous.
I really like that you went to all that effort just to have a really good story for us on the podcast.
And that is why I'm the best. No.
So last episode we had David Stubbs on, and the episode goes out tomorrow actually.
Oh, does it?
It's a photographer. I think you worked together recently. He said.
What's his
He's
company?
a wedding photographer. It's called David Stubbs.
David Stubbs, but he's an expert on SEO. So we were talking to him about all that
nice.
sort of stuff.
Oh, I can't
And
wait for that one.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
It blew my brains off.
Yeah.
He asked, as a question for the next guest, which is you, if overnight you woke up and you were just inundated, like your workload just quadrupled times 10, how would you cope? That was his question.
How would
If
you
just
manage
got
it?
inundated with inquiries, bookings, and you couldn't turn them away. You had to do it. Like, what steps would you take?
I mean, that kind of did happen.
isn't it?
Yeah, that kind of did happen, like this year, because like it was fresh. You could take bookings again, so I did more wedding fairs.
Yeah.
I didn't do them before, things like that. I mean, I'm actually building that in now. So I've got like a booking system. So I'm in the transition of that. So that's going to automate like a lot of the boring stuff, like sending public liability, sending the thank you emails, not like that I'm just going to say thank you in one way, but the emails that come after the honeymoon and they say the reviews. I've got things like my PDF and stuff.
Good thing to do, by the way.
Yeah. So, but then I always message them personally, like,
Yeah.
you know, on Instagram or something like that.
Yeah.
So it doesn't sound automated.
Yeah, so it doesn't sound like a boring robot. But if I had to take all the gigs, I'd probably train up a couple of people, which I think is coming next. Like I've got a couple of singers now that I always refer. I'd like to get, and I'm actually setting it up now.
So your plan is to scale up in this way?
My plan is to scale up because I believe I can really spot quality and what clients want. I mean, I've been singing it in events and venues for 15 years. Like, that's a long time. And I plan to do that for the rest of eternity. So I'd have this bank of like maybe 10, 15 singers that all were different, but all amazing at what they do. I would help them build their thing up so that they were strong. And I'd have that because I am turning so much work away. Like, I'm fully booked for this year. I'm getting to that point next year. And I actually want to scale down my bookings and go for quality and let my couples book me for the whole day. And I'm not going to say, oh, I'm going to sing for an hour. It's going to be like, if there's a moment that needs filling, I'm going to do that. And I want you to...
Yeah, or we can create a package for you that will look
bespoke,
after that.
Yeah. So I want to go down to the not doing 2-3 weddings a day. Like sometimes I'm doing 2-3 weddings a day. I want to do maximum 2 weddings a week. And that's going from 175 last year. I've got 150 this year. And that's not even your Christmas events. So I want to scale down what I do, but scale up what I offer. So that is how I would deal with it. So booking system, people I trust that I would refer, help train them up and give them opportunity, because some of the gigs might not be right for me either. Like, I'm not right for every gig.
Yeah, because you've done the odd gig, like I did years ago. Actually, I don't think I'm right.
I don't want to do a pub on a Saturday night.
But you can still tailor something that will fit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Perfect.
cool.
Perfect.
And what else would I do in the industry? Was
let's go with that one.
Is it in the industry?
Has to be.
So in the wedding industry, what else would you do if you weren't a wedding singer? If you could do anything?
Do you know what? I quite like the idea of being like the social media content
creator.
You know, grabbing all that. Or
I
actually was thinking, can I have 2?
Because
I like wearing lots of hats. That's something I like doing. I'd like to be a social media like content creator, because I'm doing that now, but I like to get the candid moments, and I've done that for loads of brides.
Yeah.
But it'd be good to do that because I feel like I'm so natural at creating and bringing that out for people. Or like a wedding dress model. I love clothes.
Model.
You know, like wearing the wedding. How amazing would that be? Like just wearing these amazing dresses, because I like doing that anyway.
If I ever need a model for a style shoot, would you do it?
Absolutely. I did modelling for years as a kid. I mean, wait till my implant comes in. But my first job was when I was 2. I did modelling from 2.
Implants again.
I did teeth implant. Oh, that's... I used to do modelling at 2 till I was 14 for a modelling agency. So I did... I've worked. My mum's worked me.
That's good to know.
So Ellie could design the dress.
Yeah,
And you
I'd wear it.
because that's what Ellie wanted to do if she wasn't...
yeah.
We're building up a whole wedding team.
Yes.
Alternative
Oh my
suppliers.
God, if we all swap roles?
Yeah.
How good would that be?
So just to finish then,
question.
Can you give us a question to ask
the next
our next guest? Has to be
Got to be wedding
businessy,
business
wedding
related.
What is one myth?
Straight in.
No, because I was like, oh, ADHD brain. I'll have loads of ideas. What is one myth about your industry that you would love to squash and why?
Love that. That's a really good one.
Question.
That's a really good one.
Loads of
Have
answers for
you
that
got
one.
answers? I want to hear your answers when
We'll
it
do it
comes
off
on.
there, yeah. Right, Franchesqua Sings.
Oh no!
Don't Google
Right, okay.
Franchesqua Sins, all right? Because you're going to
I
get in
slipped that in
trouble.
on purpose because I really wanted to bring it
Come on,
up.
I think you should just quickly close
So-
on that. In case.
During my research for this podcast, I obviously went to Google and I just wanted to check out and find
But
her
you spelt my name
website.
wrong.
So I
But
you
spelled the
missed out
name
the
wrong,
G in
Franchesqua
Sings.
Sings. And I was faced with a page full of porn sites. But not just average porn. It was like really bad porn.
Extra porn.
Extra porn.
Turns out there's a porn star called Franchesqua Sings.
Francesqua Sings.
Francesqua
So it was a
Sings. Oh, you actually know her name.
Yeah. No, because you showed me. No. So
It is you.
Disclaimer. He missed out the H, the E, the Q, the U. The H, the E, the Q, the U.
So
This is your OnlyFans person, though.
This
yeah?
is not. If you are booking me for your wedding and you think I'm a porn star, I am not your porn
Price
star.
has just gone up.
I am not your porn star. I might be extra, but not in that department.
so I mean, you'd have to be like spelling it really wrong.
Yeah, really wrong.
Yeah.
Really wrong. But do you know what? That's good to know. That is good to know.
Good. Right.
If you're starting a business, Google your business name just in case.
Well, I did change it. It was Franchesqua, the female vocalist, but how long is that?
Yeah, Franchesqua
the
Sings
female
works.
vocalist,
Yeah.
Just
Francesqua
don't
Sings
look
works well.
research Franchesqua Sings because you might find
Sins.
You
Sin.
you might find a
click on her
different
link.
form of entertainment than was
I
intended.
feel that, and I've got cookies on my computer now that's just going to put up porn sites all the time.
It's a great
Good excuse,
I
though,
am,
isn't it?
yeah, I am family friendly, so yeah, it will not be that.
So if anyone
thank
wants
you.
to find you online, it's Franchesqua Sings.
Francesqua Sings.
Yes, and Instagram.
On Instagram.
Yeah,
Sure.
Instagram,
Yeah.
website.
We'll tag you in on
YouTube,
Insta.
all of that. But yeah.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you for
Been a
having
pleasure.
me.
It's been great to have
Lovely.
somebody in the same category as me.
Because I admire what you do as well. And you know when I found out that you were the judge, I was like, oh god,
Oh, man.
oh no.
So thanks so much for listening. We really hope that you found this episode insightful, inspirational, and if you did enjoy that, then please consider subscribing to us wherever you get your podcasts, iTunes, Spotify. We're Think Wedding Business.
We're also on YouTube and Instagram. So if you want to watch us, you can go over to YouTube and find us at Think Wedding Business. And the same over on Instagram to keep up with all of our future episodes.
We'd really love you to subscribe and join us on this journey. And if you do like this content, please consider giving us a 5-star review. It just helps us get seen and helps spread the word.
So thanks again for listening,
Wings
and we'll see you
out.
next time.
Bye-bye.